This is another live radio link-up brought to you by the Government Communications GCIS. GCIS.
Time is still 7 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, and it's a very good evening to you. Welcome to it. Our broadcast brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, together with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Welcome to it. My name is Fraudulent. Glad to be with you for the next hour. I'm very excited for the show this evening because we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject. I know that you're looking forward to it, and your station probably have been telling you about it the whole day. So we're going to be exploring it. The time has come. Government Communication and Information System GCIS the Justice and Constitutional Development. Lina Kikarabolans Kitabelo Balo and Amuchelechi Yachabulam Lale Gutingaba Nawe Letu Uletolanga Government Communication and Information System Nomyango where Justice and Constitutional Development. So the next hour is going to be jam-packed with information that's really going to help you and empower you. And without wasting any time, let me introduce our guest for this evening. She was here last week and we had a very exciting show. We were talking about maintenance last week. And the producer of the show, Mr. Victor Palam, has promised really to make part 2 of the program that we had last week. It was so interesting. But this evening, though, we're going to be talking about what we call fraudulent marriages or marriages for convenience or of convenience. That's what we're going to be talking about. Manyalo a longore a sanete. Oba batho ba nyala ka gore gona le se seng se longore ba se nyaka fela lenyalo le go slanete. That's what we're going to be exploring. Telling us more about it this evening is Miss Josephine Peta. She's the Senior Legal Administration Officer at the Office of the Family Advocate. She's back again this evening. Good evening to you, Josephine.
Good evening to the listeners. Good evening, South Africa, all of you, and thank you for having me tonight.
0800 142 446 0800 142 446 telephone number to use if you want to chat to us. Any comments or questions that you might be having this evening, we're going to be welcoming those on that telephone line, 0800 142 446. There's other ways that you can communicate with us. You can communicate with us via Facebook. You can find us, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. On Twitter, it's at DOJCD_ZA. That's DOJCD_ZA. On Instagram, it's at DOJCD. So those are the ways that you can be in touch with us this evening. Fraudulent marriages or marriages of convenience. I had a chat with Josephine off air just before we went on air, and she said to me, listen here, it's a very exciting one, this one. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah, you'll find out. She's done this before, by the way, so she knows, but we're going to be exploring that. So let's talk about it. When we're talking about fraudulent marriages, or these marriages of convenience, what is it that we're talking about, Josephine?
Okay, when we talk of fraudulent marriages or marriages of convenience, we're talking of marriages entered into between South African citizens together with non-South African citizens, which is like foreigners, for purposes of facilitating the issuing of citizenship or resident papers. And the practice there is that foreign people come into our country, and when they get here, they enter our country as the visitors, and then they get here, and then they start seeking asylum. And then once they receive the asylum, then they meet with Josephine, and then say to Josephine, "I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you 2,000 rand per month, provided that you come with me. We go to the Department of Home Affairs, and then we sign as husband and wife. And after that signing or that solemnization of that marriage, then we go our separate ways. And then the foreign national then goes back to their country, bring back their wife, and then bring back their kids. Then when in South Africa, you remain married, but you're actually not married."
Jeez, that's wow. All right, but I'm hearing apparently in townships, this is very rife. Tell us about it.
It is very prevalent. We have people approaching, because there is actually a syndicate that has been run since 2010.
A syndicate even?
Yes. The syndicate was consisting of, priests, or what we call the marriage officers, It was consisting of the officials of the Department of Home Affairs, as well as ladies who were just picked up from nowhere and then being rented at a going rate of between 10,000 and 50,000 to say, you go with me to the department, we sign as husband and wife, and then life goes on.
What's in it for these people that are agreeing to do
It's
this?
money. It's money because of you can even be paid on a monthly basis, or you can get a once-off payment of 50,000, and then you just walk away.
Jeez, 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446 is getting very interesting already. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the telephone lines already, and let's get talking. Africa Borwa a re boledišane ka taba ye ke kwa ba re ko di-townshiping tša rena ke taba e leng gore ka nnete e bonagala ka kudu-kudu. Ke kgopela gore le wena nke o be karolo ya poledišano ya rena. Mohlomongwe o na le se seng se e leng gore o ile wa se bona. Re sa ene ke gore mohlomongwe o ka bolela maina a batho mo moyeng. No, that's not necessarily what we're asking you to do. A se re o kgopelang gore o se dire. But re ka rata gore re botse di-case tše e leng gore wena o ile wa di bona, tše e leng gore mohlomongwe o bona gore batho ba bona ba phela jwang. Nke o bolele rena 0800 142 446. Khuluma nathi 0800 142 446. Wena uboneni mhlambe bakhona abantu obaziyo who are getting into this fraudulent marriages or marriages of convenience. Asithi mhlambe ufanele ukhulume amagama abo. No, that's not what we're saying. Sizocela nje ukuthi uke usitshele ukuthi what is it that you're seeing wena ubonani? Are there people like that in your area? Benzani wababona benzani, and all sorts of things that perhaps you are exposed to. 0800 142 446. Now, this issue here, is it only with foreign nationals, or are there cases of people in South Africa who get into that but for maybe more or less the same reason?
You know what? It's
Reason, financial reason, maybe wanting to get access to certain things, and the only way to do it is perhaps by getting married. Or
you know what? It's prevalent amongst the foreign nationals. We haven't had any cases as between South African nationals, because remember the actual thing here is that they want to assist this foreign national to get the South African citizenship, because they know that, you know what, it's not going to be easy for them to get. So in order for them to be in South Africa, then they must first take that step of getting married.
14 minutes after 6 o'clock, if you've just joined us, welcome to it. The show has been going on for the last, how many minutes now? It's about 8 minutes or so. We haven't missed out on a lot, but we're talking about fraudulent marriages and marriages of convenience. And joining us in the studio is Ms. Josephine Peta. She's the Senior Legal Administration Officer at the Office of the Family Advocate, and she's going to be telling us about this. 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Twitter at DOJCD_ZA. Instagram at DOJCD. So that's where you can get us. I wonder what the legal consequences of all of these fraudulent marriages of convenience are, because when money is in front of us, it's like we stop thinking.
Yes.
A lot of times motho a bona tšhelete or feila go nagana for some reason. So legal consequences of this, tell us about that.
Sure, there are many. Firstly, if you are caught assisting someone to get a citizenship through this types of marriage, you may face jail up to 15 years.
What?
Yes, direct imprisonment, because remember, that is fraud and that is perjury at the same time. Secondly, marriage in itself is a legal contract. It impacts on your status. So you remained married to that person, and such marriage cannot be dissolved by divorce. It can only be dissolved by annulment, and annulment only takes place at the high courts. And remember, when you approach the high courts, you need an attorney and you also need an advocate, and the fees there are exorbitant. So you cannot cry foul and then go to the department and say, please remove me on the system, I can't find Karawe anymore. No, you will have to approach the high court, and where do you get the money? And then thirdly, it can impact negatively on the issues Sabo Sasa, the grant for the children, because remember, before before the application for grants can be approved, you need to assess the income of the entire family. Now, how will the department be able to assess that when the other party is no longer in the picture? So the children might end up not even benefiting from the like SASA and all that.
Yeah.
And fourthly, issues of the children getting IDs and passports. Once you get married, remember, your spouse must be there to sign for them. Now, where will that spouse be?
And the what is it called again? The unabridged birth certificate,
Correct. Yes.
which needs both parents
Correct,
to be reflected in that.
Correct.
So meaning even that will then
It will be impacted. It will not be issued. It will just wait for this person who's not coming back or who has since moved on with their new spouses. And again, the issue of the administration of the estates. Should you die with your status reflecting married at the Department of Home Affairs, the Master of the High Court will not be able to dissolve your estate. They'll have to go and declare this person missing, and will have to wait for a period of 10 years for them to come back and present themselves and say, I'm here, in order for this estate to be dissolved. So in that way, you are prejudicing your children from accessing your wealth, from accessing maintenance from your estate. So this is very huge. And should this person go and incur debts, you must remember these are your debts too. So you'll be having a maganishi order, nani, and all those kind of things. So when money is here, we get blindsided, but the consequences are very real. They are genuine.
0800 142 446. Let's chat to Mark Mtembu. Okay, I've been told to just hold on a little bit, Mark. I think we're going to get back to you soon. That was going to be our first caller calling from KZN there. Mark, we're coming to you. Don't worry about it. 0800 142 446. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, that's on Facebook. On Twitter, it's it's at DOJCD_ZA. On Instagram, it's at DOJCD. So be in touch with us. Re boledišana ka taba tše leng gore di bohlokwa-hlokwa. Nka rata gore le wena motšheletši o be karolo ya poledišano ya rena ya tšatšing la legono. Re boledišana ka manyalo a e leng gore a sa nnete. Batho ba dira ka gore mohlomong o na le se seng. And our guest is telling us this is more prevalent in the townships, really, because also, I mean, the poverty that we're living under now.
Yes, true that. But, we cannot just put poverty as the reason why we are engaging into these criminal activities, because remember, this is a criminal activity.
You're even calling it criminal,
yeah. Robbing the state, because this person who wouldn't ordinarily have to gain from these benefits of South Africa, then they start having access to whatever South Africa is providing. So what you're actually saying is that you are opening, like the border gates of South Africa to people who ordinarily shouldn't be here.
And that's literally how it's like.
Exactly.
It's like we go bordering and you're actually opening it wide.
Yes, and
My goodness.
but the government is not doing anything. And I'm always saying that the government is always the last man standing, because we are the ones who must take care of our country. But when we are standing there at the border gates and opening for these people, what are we saying the government must do? Because remember, we are concocting all these agreements in our own private spaces, not in front of the government.
And now we want to turn it to making a government problem. Well, eventually it becomes one, but we are more responsible to making it happen.
We should be.
0800 142 446. Mark Mtembu from Peter Morrisburg in KZN. Good evening to you, sir.
Hello.
Good Mark.
Angibonga kakhulu umsakazi, ngibingelela kuwena na umsambeli sakho lapha emsakazweni. Mina ngilalela uGungundlova no 7.6 FM, the sound of choice of KZN capital.
Siyabonga Mark, siyabonga Mgungundlova.
Lolo daba likhuluma libaluleke kakhulu ngoba seloke lenzeka kwifamily yami, usisi wami qobo lwakhe, usisi wami wathandana nomunye umuntu wasekhongo. So kwaba yinto nje engaqondakali, kwagcina sekulahleka izinto zakhe njengama ID, kwathola manje mayesetshobhe kwathola useshadile. Manje unenkinga yokuthi manje njengoba kade echaza usisi lapho lento igcina criminal record kumuntu, ngoba akasakwazi ukwenza izinto eziningi. Ushadile manje, unomunye umuntu athandana naye manje, ufuna ukuthi azomlobola ke manje owala eSouth Africa, manje kuthafana na divorce. Engicela ukwazi ukuthi ikuphi angakwenza ukuze ancedakale, akwazi aphume kule nkinga lena le asengene kuyona. Ngiyamakhulu ngizolalela umsakazweni.
Yeah, Mark, just before you go, I just want to check something with you. Mark is saying that sister got married to a foreign national who comes from another African country, but now for some reason documents started getting lost and all sorts, and now there's somebody who wants to get married to the sister for real, and it's impossible because she's been told by the Home Affairs that she needs to get a divorce from this person. Yeah. So Mark, when she was married to this person, was it because yalahleka i-IT yakhe? Or mhlambe waya it was an agreement bakhulumisana bona bayi2?
Kwaduka i-ID but babehlala ndawonye, kwaduka i-ID naye lo baba lo but wavela nyamalala kwayena. Asimazi nokuthi wakuphi nendawo uhlala kuphuzo kwemanje. Le paselisha mase ethi uyahamba eHome Affairs kuyinkinga futhi manje ukuthi athole ipaselisha manje yabona leyo.
Ngiyabona. Thanks, Baba. Thanks, Mark. Sizawuphendula umbuzo wakho, Baba.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. Mark from Mtembu from Peter Marisburg in KZN. Let's go to the Eastern Cape and we're chatting to Patco from Aliwal North, calling from a station called Takalani Community Radio. Good evening to you, Patco. Molo tata, siyaphila njani wena? I'm not even going to attempt to that. I've tried. Hey, Patco, try it. I think it doesn't work. Hey. I think I need to come down, go Takalani, little trainer my tongue on how to say that.
No. I will not tell that.
How to end that? I don't know when.
But I can't even tell Josephine Gamonum Renaga. Kinani Puto, it's a page. Puto Gapi, Kibatao Table, department in Casona, easy, the Kulung, especially Banaba Babacha, Baba media advices. How can a Manalung and Ubani? Abakena manyalungan uboni abuti asitanga munadi business wa mudimela utwamolu ableli batwadi reno abutiena ukupile nyalo honna bata mabalithu limitwale abutiena bayosigna home affairs ikaba bakakhona ngoba etele dikolo ufana kadi elizopieni hore batho ba ska fela ba ikenye fela nyalo ba sa tibi di consequences tsa teng go tswa ya pele ya pele ke batla o tseba hore ba ka khona hore ba tse di community tsena tse class bo di rural areas ubani ke mo ntse tsena ke tsalang teng o fumana hore mama o iritse my friend mona ka thu a iritse my friend o tla bua le mama ke batla o nyala ngwane wa hao mme le hore ngwana yena a tsebe nnete mme le ngwana hore mme a re tsamaya ge home affairs a fitla man ba fitla ba ya sign ngwana a tsebe o tswa mo o tla fela ngwana se ka ai o nyetsi ke yena monna hao ke yani room ya lone ditla man le babedi tla ke tsa ntse tsa lone e ka ba ka kgona re batle sa tshwanetsana ka diletso hape especially to rural areas ba bang ba batho a ba tsedi fela ba signa fela ya leboa o le tlamela o Takalani Community Radio.
Thank you so much, Patco. Thank you, Takalani Community Radio, for your taking part in the program. Really appreciate it. 23 after 6, 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Are Tomekaya Mark Mtembu from Peter Marisburg. As I've explained to you, sister got married to a foreign national and IDs got lost. With this one, I'm kind of confused whether the sister got married.
When I listen to Magne, it appears as if the sister was still dating this person when the person disappeared together with her ID documents.
Oh,
and yes, then wahamba ke wayoyenza law marriage le. And I'm assuming from Buti Mark's perspective that could have taken place before 2013 because manje zishintshile izinto. Right now, this practice, Department of Home Affairs, manje, it has wisened up.
Yeah.
Because manje, in terms of the South African Citizenship Act, you have to be in the Republic for 8 years
before you can get married to a South African.
You can get married, but you must be ordinarily resident in South Africa for 8 years because you are not going to get any citizenship until you have stayed here for 8 years.
Oh, so you can get married,
yes.
but citizenship will only come after 8 years.
Yes.
Is it 8 years in marriage or even 8 years after marriage or before marriage?
It can be before or after marriage, but you must have been in South Africa for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then thereafter, then you must make an application to the Department of Home Affairs. I want citizenship. So my citizenship is no longer linked to marriage at all. It is no longer linked. So that institution can no longer be abused like it used to be abused before. Because before, in terms of the old act, you were only required to be in the Republic for a year. Now it's 8 years, then you make an application to the minister, not just to anybody. And now the worst part now is that after making that that application, you are subjected to an intensive investigation. They will search your credit bureau, they will search your country, are you not there and all that. And once they pick up one mistake, you will get out of the country.
Jeez, man, it's hectic.
You'll get out of the country. So, yaga sister waka butika magne, yona, it's one of the categories of this kind of marriages is fraud because of it appears ngati bachonje ID like and then gwanzwa marriage without her being present.
Which is the key word or the key phrase or whatever you want to call it. But she did not give consent to this.
Yes.
So now how does she sort it out? Because she's got nothing to do with this.
She's going to have to go divorce, but then it's going to be a long process because manje kuzofuneka ukuthi acele the leave of the court to do what we call substituted service. Kuzofuneka ukuthi ayo advertiser in the newspapers ukuthi I am divorcing this person, so that the divorce can go through. So I court actually substituted divorce. I want to serve the summonses to this person who is no longer here. And then once the court give them that leave to appeal, to go and advertise that kind of divorce, then that the divorce process can start. Because remember, with the divorce, you must serve the person personally.
Yeah.
If they don't receive the summonses, it's not going to happen. And like these things, like Zaka Sister Wagamak, are prevalent because abantu, you enter into this kind of arrangements, then years later you meet umaqondana wako. You must know that in new marriage yako nomaqondana wako is not going to be processed until your status changes lapana a Department of Home Affairs.
Tsepo, I'm coming to you now. Tsepo from Klerksdorp. I'm coming to you now. Let me just ask one more question to our guest this evening in terms of your nerfechongoblela kayona. Now, that process, your fechongoblela kayona now, that you just said now, is it applicable only when, like for instance, in the case Ausa Mike, where stuff is stolen and she was married without her consent, or can you use the same process even when you have gone and agreed to the marriage, as we started talking about fraudulent marriages?
When you have gone and agreed to the marriage, you must just do an annulment. The minute you start crying foul ya fraud, you must annul. Because if there is an element of fraud, that marriage is voidable. It is voidable. And when I'm saying it is voidable, it means that it can only be annulled and not go through the subject of this divorce. So you need to prove that you did not walk into the Department of Home Affairs, you did not sign any documents. Because remember, Home Affairs now, it is going to conduct an investigation as to whether did you personally present yourself at the offices, did you sign the documents, go marriage officer. And if that is the case, you cannot say divorce. You can't. Because now you are crying fraud. Once fraud, then I hambi kanjalo.
0800 142 446 0800 142 446. Zajikizinto. Tsepo from Klerksdorp in Northwest. Good evening to you, Tsepo.
Sundown Sydney.
Ntate wa ka le kae na?
That there is yamere thamaletse.
Re sale ba ba yellow, even our blood is flowing yellow. Ehe.
Karawe putsa ka mani tsepo betlego putsa ka tsena go re mo go isiona ga ka molao mo molao a go kgona ga le gore ja ka gongwe naga ya rona go di ana ke na le motho e dintsi ile a nyala ke a kontle ke le ditna go ditile and then ntse ga re tsane le jara ba dintlo ba tsanya ke ntse ile a gore ba tsa tšhelete then a fetsa ba nyala ne kgata ba tsale ba putsa ga gore ga gona tsela ile go mo ka naga ya rona ile leloko la African Union le ena support halaka a gona gore Home Affairs ya rona Minister of Home Affairs rona ka gona gore le tsena ba le ka go di kopantsa le di minister tse dingwe di Home Affairs ina ga tseo gore ba gone go tseisa manyalo ana ha le di tshaba mo a batla go nyala wa naga ya rona gore ntse tse di gona go shebagala ba gona go sheba go go be le ke ba ntse rona motho o yetse ko nageng ya gagwe motho ona o tsile la pla go nageng ya a gona ka tsela re gona ba ka gona go se ditse le gore go gona go bona gala gore ha ba re ba nyala ka mona manyala bona go
right. Okay. Thank you so much, Tsepo from Klerksdorp in Northwest. Appreciate your call. Ulisile from Ahikeng, from Northwest as well. Ulisile?
Raka
Dad?
No, Richard Dad. Le me Josephine Peta dumele phone.
Okay, papa.
Ke ulisile ka kwano mo Mahikeng mabatho FM. Ke batla go botsa mefo te bang ntlha ya yone lenyalo le gore ga ile gore gona go be le gore ba setse ba nyetse ka bupilare gone anong Home Affairs go fa about 8 years o bo kreile citizen before ya citizenship ba se ba di kreile gore bana ba divorce Home Affairs e ka gona go ka withdraw decision tse ba e kreile ka ntlheng ya yone fraudulent marriage.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ulisile from Afike, and really appreciate it there. 0800 142 446. I'll be welcoming your comments and questions on Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as Twitter at DOJCD_ZA, Instagram at DOJCD. 31 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to it. In the studio, we're chatting to Josephine Peta, and she's coming from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. She's the Senior Legal Administration Officer at the office. So, very delighted to have her. We're talking about fraudulent marriages or marriages of convenience. trouble there. A lot of consequences following that. And a couple of callers have called in. Thank you so much, Mark Mtembu. Thank you so much, Partco as well, called in. Tepo called in. Tepo wants to find out, but can't Home Affairs work with other African countries, or any other country, in fact, foreign countries, to make sure that if any foreign national wants to marry somebody who is a citizen of South Africa, measures are taken to ensure that, if I may use the word that we use in government, they are vetted, for lack of a better way. In other words, they are checked whether this is going to be a true marriage or this is going to be a fraudulent marriage.
You know what? That measure has already been put in place since 2013 through the South African Citizenship Amendment Act. The act was promulgated in 2010, but it only came into operation in 2013. In terms of which I've already alluded to that, to say you have to be in the country for a period of 8 years, then you undergo a hectic investigation. They investigate everything. There was someone who once phoned and then informed me that his application for citizenship was declined because they said he had insufficient funds. So that's how deep the investigation goes. The department is currently conducting those investigations. That is why many people's citizenship applications are being declined as we speak.
Even with insufficient funds?
Yes, they will. Just a little mistake. Because remember, you cannot be in the country and not contribute to the to the economical circumstances of the country. Because there are people who come here and then inform us that they are just hawkers, but they're driving big cars and then they're staying in big houses. So they're hiding those assets. And what is the state then benefiting from? The state needs to benefit from its own people, because we are liable to the state via the payment of taxes.
Yeah.
So that is why you go through that particular. So if you lie, if they picked up one misrepresentation, you will not get a citizenship.
Right. And Ulisida wants to find out, okay, we spoke about the law having changed from 2013,
yes,
right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so now one needs to be in the country for 8 years before they get
correct.
citizenship. Yeah. Okay, but he wants to find out, all right, what happens to those that got themselves involved in these fraudulent marriages prior to the law changing? Can the department withdraw their citizenship?
No, they can't, because of unless if the act was saying that it applies retrospectively.
At the moment, it doesn't.
Exactly. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And the other thing, remember that I had him mentioning something to the effect that what if the people now divorce? Can they now withdraw? And then in South Africa, we are subscribing to no-fault divorce. If I want to divorce you, I just wake up and then go and divorce you. That is the problem.
Yo, okay.
So you cannot withdraw. Unfortunately, idlulile. Ketile.
I'm scared of that ketile. I was hoping you're not going to say that. 26 minutes just before 7, 0800 142 446. Bonga from Mpangeni in KZN. Bonga. We've got a call on the line. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, hello.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to David.
Brother Dave.
Yes.
How's it, my brother?
I'm all right. I'm calling from Cape Town in Belleville.
Thank you so much, David, for calling in. What is your question, sir, or comment?
Yes, I would like to comment regarding the fraudulent marriages.
Go for it.
Yes, I said that I think the first thing that we have to look at the starting point or the origin of the problem. You see, when we have the laws that are not applicable, really, as it says, it's always hard now to find a way to survive. Because, for example, me, I've been in the country for 9 years, since 2008. To say that next year in February I'll be having 10 years. And now I'm still using an asylum seeker permit. But if you can go to the laws, how...
Did we lose that caller? All right, no worries. I think will get them back, but let's start with what he said now. Yeah. Is he back? All right, he's back. Yes. David, you're back. Thank you so much. Go for it. Yes. Go on. You got cut off there. Sorry about that.
I mean that the problem, unless the laws is very, very well applicable, as it say in the books, because in the books the laws say this, and when they put it in applications, they are doing other stories. You see.
For an example, what specifically, David? Can you think of any law perhaps that might be as confusing as you say?
Okay, I can say if you can see at the asylum seeker permit, you see on section B on point 3, you can see that it stated that the permit entitles the holder to work and study in South Africa. But now when you go to look for a job having this kind of document, an asylum seeker permit, they reject you wherever you go to apply, you see. So now the foreigners, they always have to find a way by any means. And remember, we don't receive any support like money support from the government. When you come in South Africa, they just give you this permit. There is no any assistance you get from the government, you see. So now you have to start from the starting point of your life to build up yourself. Until now you find yourself in situations where you can survive because the laws is holding you. We are kept in captivity, you see. You don't have education, you don't have a job. Now how are you going to survive? That's why now you see now people who can't hold it anymore. They end up doing those fraudulent marriages and stuff. For example, me, I've been married since 2012 by a South African citizen. But now I can't go to get married to the Home Affairs because of the document that I'm using doesn't allow me to go to the Home Affairs and get an official marriage because I'm still using an asylum seeker permit. Now they ask me for the passport. I can't get the passport. If I'm going to my country to get the passport, now my asylum seeker will be rejected, will be cancelled. You see, so that's why now I think the Home Affairs and everyone involved, they should look at every kind of point to see now how they can help foreign nationals, because every time when they keep on putting fingers on us, is not really sounding good.
Yeah, David, I agree with you to a certain degree. I mean, if you're saying, look, I mean, people do commit these things because of situations they find them in. I hear you. All right, I hear you. However, I'm still saying to you right now, but now should they go ahead and still commit these fraudulent activities because the laws are stringent?
I mean, most of South African, now the people we're living with, they never go ahead. They don't know what is being a refugee and stuff, you see. But now, put yourself, you are in a country where you don't have a work, you don't have anything you can do to survive yourself. You see, you can go back to your country. You've been in the country for 10 years, 15 years. Now, imagine, put yourself in that kind of situation. I'm not supporting that people should do those fraudulent marriages and stuff, but look at the corruption at the Home Affairs offices all over the country, my brother. It's a chaos what is happening.
Yeah.
In order to get assisted, you have to give money. You know, it's a chaos at the offices.
Right. David, thank you so much, really, for your input. Really opened my eyes totally. I really appreciate it. Dave from Belleville in Cape Town, 20 minutes before 7. Jasmine from Mitchell's Plain in Cape Town. Good evening to you, Jasmine?
Hello.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
Thank you for calling. What is your question?
Yeah. I just want to pose my question to the lady in the studio there.
Mm-hmm.
I would really I actually love the topic that's going on here now. Because as a crime fighter here in Mitchell's Plain, I would really love the people to come out to Mitchell's Plain Town Centre and see all the fraudulent people that is married to one another there. And not that I'm a racist person, but this foreign nationals that comes into our country, pretending to come and study or to work, but in fact destroying our society by selling drugs. Yes, selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, they are being caught now. 10 to 15 minutes later, they out.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this justice system or this government protect these innocent children that is actually being married off these guys for the money, like she says? And what is happening to them? Because we fight and we fight and we fight, and it's a non-stop thing that goes on. We will never get rid of it unless very serious measures is being taken, and who gets paid off by the borders for these people, because most of them gets deported. A few weeks after that, they back How do they get back into our country?
I hear you. Jasmine, let me just one more question to you, really, as a South African. You saying come to Mitchell's Plain and you will see it. Are you exposed to some of that? Do you know some of these guys? I'm not going to ask you to mention their names on air. That's not what I want to do. But I'm just saying, where you live right now, are you exposed to that type of thing? Do you see it?
Yes, I went that far to put myself at risk. I was on focus already. Exposing these people, went into the places with a pen as that was the camera. It was on national TV. What is it? What is the government doing about it? They do nothing. Do you want to tell me you see this guy's face on national TV and tomorrow that guy is still walking in Mitchell's Plain Town Centre?
Jeez. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Yeah.
The system is failing our people on a big deal. I'm telling you.
Big ups to you, Jasmine, for the steps that you're taking together with your community.
I like these programs that you have, but I feel this thing can't just be debated for a half an hour or hour on radio. The relevant people should be called in, and the people that's being affected to these things must sit there and ask these people the questions.
Good comment, and we'll follow it up. We thank you, Jasmine, from Mitchell's Plain. Good input there from Jasmine. Appreciate it. Bonga is back again from Mpangeni. Bonga? We got cut off. Nyakolisa baba. Let's go for it, yeah.
Sure, umbuzo wami ukuthi ngizwe ngeke nathi uyichaza kancane kodwa khona isala khona funa ukuthi ngesicacise ukuthi ihlangana kanjani le eyokuthola i-citizenship yase South Africa nokushada nomuntu wase South Africa ube ungena owase South Africa. Kodwa ngendlela engiyibuka ngayo ngendlela ezwakala ngakhona izwakala sengathi kusho ukuthi kunama loopholes akhona kumthetho wakithi si South Africa. Ngoba izwakala ngazi ukuthi uma usushade nomuntu wase South Africa kusuke sokusho ukuthi lokho uzokwazi ukuthi uthole i-citizenship ya South Africa. Ngifuna ke sibicacisa lapho ukuthi ukushada nomuntu wase South Africa kusho ukuthi usuku guaranteed usuzokwazi ukuthola i-citizenship ya South Africa kunomuntu obengashadile nomuntu wase South Africa. Akazi umbuzo wami uyafika kahle.
Uyacaca baba, ngikutholile, yeah. Bonga Msweli from Ikora FM or listening via Ikora FM. Thank you so much. That's the guys that are being led they from the guys at Ikora FM. Thank you so much for that. Nozipo, I beg your pardon, Zatu King, Williamstown in the Eastern Cape. Good evening to you, Nozipo.
Good evening, sir.
Gunjan Sam.
Oh, okay, indeed. Teta
kaloku, Teta.
Okay. I would advise Sister Bethu South Africa ukuthi bangaqhathwa ngabantu abasuka ngaphandle because into abayenzayo bayafika bengathandani nokuthandana nabo bahambe baye officeini bayo applyela into bana bathathile and then ababantu bafumane impepha vele ukuthi okay bangahlala eSouth Africa and then into eyenzekayo kuzabali abahlali kunye still omnye uhlala ngapha nomnye uhlala ngapha. The only time abahlangana ngayo kungela xesha beye officeini beyokwenzela the Peta guy impepha and then ungazi ukuthi kwenzekeni so usisi abe pregnant kuthi fine umntana kuzothi umntana esemncane engekakhulu nokhulu usisi ukuthi utshonile and immediately usisi etshona uma ngalamntana okhona kuthiwa ke no akakwazi ukuphumela ngaphandle fanele akhulise la mntwana and immediately ke ngoku etshona lo sisi uyahamba ayothatha the original wife wakhe nomntwana wakhe bazohlala apha eSouth Africa babingaphuma ke ngoku.
So what is your advice, guys, Nozi?
Yes, osisi bethu ngathi bangazihlonipha ngathi bangalinda umuntu if it means ahamba yokwenza iwashing next door or wherever kunobana azinikezele to these people.
So our sisters,
that is not fair.
Our sisters should not sell themselves.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nozipo Zatu from King Williamstown, taking the last call, and then we're going to go into those questions already. It's Oba King from Mahikeng in Northwest. Oba King. Those questions already. It's Oba King from Mahikeng in Northwest. Oba King.
Dumela guy.
Dumela Ntate. It sounded like deja vu there for a bit there.
Dumela guy.
Re telle ga tate.
Re teng Karabo bua le ba ke go tswa ka fa Mahikeng na Fresh University FM.
Out with that. Ke ne ke le go lona go 2 weeks ago. Just close to Mahikeng. Ne ke le go ba hurutsing kana.
Oh ne le ka fa ba hurutsing.
Out he.
Go itumedisa. Ntate ke nagana gore bo sister ba rona ne ba dira this out of desperation. Ke la bona le bana le go lebella dilo tse dintse gore okay these guys ba gona go ba tshwara sentle ba ba simolla pele ba compare. So ke nagana gore this thing ga di diragale fela ko one places ba lebella jalo gore o itsekeng okay let's target Mafikeng, you know gore Mafikeng has this ladies ba neng gore ba bantle and things like that, so rona re ka tla ka di jeep re tla go ba spoiler once they get what they want. These guys ka ba simolla ba tsama, and then our sisters ba simolla pele ba struggle gore ngwana o teng o one fa o tshwanetse go disa ngwana ntata teng ga yo a tsama, even though some of them gona le ba ke ba itseng ke ba bona ba ntse ba data these guys, and then these guys ba abuse so ga ba itse gore tota ba palo go bolella the family tsa bone yang ka gonna ha ba bolella ba ba promise jalo gore ba go ba bola and things like that.
Obags bua le nna hentate wena as a guy o nagana re hoetsiweng. I mean, what advice can you give to our sisters? Because we read something that's very important, and I think guys are seeing that, but to a certain degree Machita, they don't know what to do really. I mean, you mentioned or they're desperate, but on the other hand there's something that's very important that you've mentioned. You say baba trita shapo, you know, baba kazaka and all of that stuff. So when from a guy's point of view, what do you think should be done in order to protect our sisters?
You know, for the advices, and then you're jealous, and then you are broken, things like that. Well, we're going to read how small like you stable until you get this person or build the future lane. So the advices and but or the department should come and for the workshop this thing is really affecting the society, and then
right. Obaking, are you calling from a radio station, or are you calling as a listener of a radio station?
The listener of a radio station.
All right, 100%. Now that's good. You're calling from a radio station, meaning you're part of that. Now, what's the role of that community radio station following this program? What is it that you're going to do in terms of programming, taking it forward? But thank you. So maybe you should call the station and say, look, listen, I called in last night, and maybe part of your programming, especially now, Heritage Month, you should inculcate some of these things. But thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it.
Thank you. But I know the station managers are listening, and some of the presenters, because we have a feature called the Focus Shout for Help. I think maybe so the listeners on the.
Thank you so much. Oba King from Northwest in Mahikeng. 10 minutes before 7 o'clock, 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. All right, let's take a look at these questions. Bonga said, okay, I think he's asking a question that you've really answered before, but he was not clear. Citizenship, does it imply, or when you marry somebody who's a South African, does it automatically make you a South African? Do you automatically get South African citizenship?
No. In terms of the Citizenship Act, the South African Citizenship Amendment Act, you can only acquire citizenship via 3 ways. Number 1, by birth. Number 2, by descent. And when I'm talking about descent is when you are adopted by South African parents, by people who are South African citizens. Number 3 is by naturalization. And naturalization is closely linked to what we are talking about, because naturalization required before this particular amended act, naturalization required you to only be in the Republic for a year, and then thereafter then apply for citizenship. But then these people found a way to fast track. To say, you know what, instead of waiting for that year, let me rather get married, and then from there, and then we deal with this issue. But now, with naturalization, you are required to be here for a period of 8 years, then make an application, then be subjected to the investigation, and your application, there's no guarantee that it can be approved. But remember, other people, and that I want to speak to also what David said. David must realize that we are not being xenophobic. the government is not being xenophobic at all. What the government is saying is that people must, they must have genuine and clear intentions and not defraud the government by gaining this particular benefits which they wouldn't ordinarily get. And abantu babafana nabo David, I would advise them to, to contact the Department of International Relations. We call it DIRCO, because DIRCO deals with your embassies and all those kind of things. They must contact them and then find out as to who is their representative, who is in the country in terms of those bilateral agreements. We can link them to the Department of Home Affairs. And people must not just quickly resort to illicit or illegal activities, saying that they want to fast track. There is a Department of International Relations in the Republic of South Africa, which is responsible for dealing with issues with regards to international relations. Visit that particular department and get them to assist in this kind of issues instead of resorting to criminal activities.
So there are measures in place that are being put by government to help those who are feeling that they're struggling as they're in South Africa already.
Yes, there are embassies, and then you also have your non-governmental organizations.
Of course, yeah.
That people can go and visit and then get this particular information. And the Department of Home Affairs is not an animal. You can just go there and then get information as to what to do next.
0800 142 446. Oh, and then just before we go to Zoto and Nkosi in Nelspruit, Zoto, I'm coming to you just now shortly. Let's tackle Patko's questions. He wants to find out, and I've been hearing through the callers that have called in already, it looks like there's a trend of we don't know what we should do. Let's talk about educational programs, especially taking them a little further down in terms of your, can I say primary school? Not necessarily. Maybe even maybe your late stages of primary school, but your high schools and your tertiary educational facilities, educational programs that government are putting in place in terms of to educate our sisters?
I think that is highly necessary. We need that because remember, if you want to really, put through and spread the message, you need to start at that particular low level. So what we can do is we have, like I said, I was once with the Minister of Home Affairs at some radio station when we're talking about this issue. We are going to approach them and then just have a collaboration and then go to this particular townships and the rural areas and spread the message, because we need this message to really go down there.
So you are working, in fact, it brings me to my next question. You're working at getting to those rural areas and far-flung areas.
Definitely.
0800 142 446. All right, let's take a caller now quickly. And my screen just went blank. Okay, there we go. Zoto Nkosi from Nelspruit. Zoto, good evening to you. Kunjani Zoto?
Ngiphilile njani wena?
Ngiyaphila siswami. Umbuto wakho uthini?
Umbuto wami ayisimbuto, in fact.
Uyahleka. No, I'm trying my Swati there for a bit,
Yes, right vele, because siyiphathi yenguni language nazo.
Angiyabona ke. Umbuto uthini ke manje? Of i-comment yakho.
Mina i-comment yami ne. Okay, kule citizenship sebakhulumile kakhulu, angeke ngene kuyo, but lo 8 years mncane kakhulu.
Mncane ne?
Yeah, mncane. Ugovernment wethu udlala ngathi kakhulu singama South Africans. Labantu bekufuneka babanike noma 20 years uma kungukuthi umuntu userious ufuna ukuhlala la eSouth Africa. Then number 2, sinale issue yama voting rights. Abantu abangama foreigners ukuthi shaya sifuba ukuthi yena uvota eMozambique aphinde avote eSouth Africa. Lo muntu unama ID or unama passport awu2 lase Mozambique lase South Africa. Lo muntu ubenefita kuma countries like 2, mina solo ngibenefita country lay 1. Cela basibukele letinto leto. Then okunye number 4 wami i-issue yama South Africans langaphandle emaveni angaphandle. Asisibaningi njengabo thina. We are plus minus 4,000 lesi kuma countries langaphandle. Mara uma ungathi ubuka eSouth Africa base Zimbabwe mhlambe bang 5 million. Uyayibona lento leyo. Iyasimata sima South Africans. Sicela bayibuke lento leyo. Then okugcina ngci before ngiye ku last one. President waseZimbabwe uthe ucela abantu baseZimbabwe babuye ekhaya. Uyakubona?
Okay.
ababuyele ekhaya batokhona kuvusa umnotho waseZimbabwe banamamayini banani bana everything ababuyele ekhaya hayi kabi ngomoya wokholwa. Then kwegcina ngqingqingi la eNelspruit nomgwaqo abawubita iAnderson Street.
Bawubitani?
Anderson Street.
Anderson Bridge, yeah. Or
Yes.
Anderson Street.
Yes.
Okay.
Anderson Street.
Okay.
Sina South Africans sesiyasaba ukuhamba lapha kulomgwaqo loya.
Why?
Ugcwele ama-Nigerians and basitshela kahle ukuthi they are here to run the South African. And it's true, they are doing konke loku corrupt lapha. And singama South Africans, even amaphoyisa atokutshela kahle ukuthi siyasaba kuya lapha eAnderson. Siyacela government wase South Africa bathanda ma-foreigners kundlula thina ma-South Africans.
All right.
Sicela basilungiselele into leto. Ngiyabonga baba.
Thank you so much, Sizotwa Ngosi from Nelspruit. Mnakethu ke lo 3 minutes just before 7. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. Where am I? I'm lost now. There's so many things. There's so many things I've written, and I've written all over the place. Okay, maybe let's start with Zotwa. Hey, Zotwa says the 8-year time frame is too small.
You know what?
She's suggesting 20 years.
You know what? It may look small, but it's not small, because remember, the 8 years, it's the 8 years that you must have been an ordinary ordinary resident of the Republic of South Africa, and thereafter, the department still has its own time within which is going to process this investigation into. And I'm telling you now, go and look at the stats now. Like David had called in and said he has been here for more than 12 years, but he's still not a citizen. It is tough out there. It is tough out there.
Why do you think David has been here? Because mentioning something about asylum, that he's got asylum documents, and I did not hear properly, but you mentioned something like the asylum documentation is making it difficult for him to.
Yes.
But why?
When David mentioned that when he came to South Africa, he came here as an asylum seeker, and then he got the papers. But now he's afraid to approach the department because they're constantly telling him that they want the passport. That is why I said he needs to approach DIRCO and then see how he can be linked, because he's afraid to approach the department because he knows he does not have the necessary documents which are required.
But why can't he have them? Okay, I'm asking the wrong person, but I mean... Yeah, but I'm asking the wrong person, I know. But let's talk. What do you think the problem could be? He's got asylum seeker documents. Yeah. So what could be the problem? Why David Asayen to change it to whatever that's needed then for him to be able to do whatever he needs to do in the country? You
know, he mentioned issues because I was listening to him like very, very carefully. He mentioned issues of corruption, that he's required to be paying people and all that. And my take is that if he is being requested to do such things, he should rather contact the department's anti-corruption unit and inform them of such practices, because that is highly like irregular, that is like very much unlawful. He needs to approach the department so that he can be assisted and rectify this situation, because from what I could pick up, then if he is having problems with regard to his papers, he's going to end up being in the country illegally, and he will face deportation. So I will request that he approach DIRCO, let them be linked either through an NGO or either through the embassy, because the department is serious about these issues.
All right. And then obviously Zotwa, going back to Zotwa, the 8-year thing we've dealt with, she suggested 20 years, which I thought, that's a bit too much as well.
Exactly.
I mean, imagine if you're coming here at 20 years and then only when you're 40. Okay, maybe life begins at 40, I don't know. And then she mentions voting. I mean, all the way through to the last thing here. Zotwa is complaining about what I'm sensing Zotwa is saying is that it looks like government is favoring more foreign nationals than South Africans. I don't think that's true. What do you think? I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because I'm looking at, and I'm not exposed to all the laws. At least you're from the department. You know more laws than I do. But I mean, the least that I've seen, it looks like it's actually for our own protection.
Exactly, it is. It is because remember, as it is, we are about 58 million in the country. When you look at the census, the number of people in South Africa, it's about 58 million. And what should the government do? The government needs to take all the necessary measures, to assist its own citizens. And, I do not agree with Usis Zoda Magati, the government favors the citizens more than us. And remember, I said we are at fault first because we facilitated those things. Mm-hmm. We entered into marriages and partnerships and all those kind of things with these very same people and allowed them to be in the country. And remember, once you allow one, then they go and fetch their wives, brothers, sisters, and everyone. And we are at the helm and at the center of this issue. And another thing, remember that we are not being xenophobic. And our constitution, especially Section 7 of the constitution, says everyone who's in the republic is entitled to the protection to be here. We cannot discriminate against them. We are, bound to actually provide them with whatever resources we have.
That we have, yeah.
Exactly. Lest we are going to be, to be held liable for violating their constitutional right.
Mm-hmm. All right, my last question, seeing that we're not taking any other callers actually at the moment. My mother used to teach me when I was a teenager. My mom used to teach me that when you wash the dishes, when you're done washing the dishes, you should mop the floor as well. She's a strong believer that when you wash the dishes and you don't mop the floor, you haven't done anything. You mop the floor as well. So meaning that when you've got something that's clean and you've got infiltration of something that's dirty, there's confusion.
True.
Which brings me to my next point that I want to ask you, really my next question. So what are the requirements then of a valid marriage in South Africa? Because once these things people start getting confused.
Exactly.
Then what needs to be done? So what is a valid marriage in South Africa?
You know what? The beauty of our country is that it is a very diverse country, and whatever relationships we enter into may result in many things. It can result in cohabitation, what you ordinarily call fat and set. Mm-hmm. And then it can result in, in a customary marriage.
Wait.
It can
No, hang on. Let's take a couple of steps back. We do have time. Okay. We've got about 4 minutes to tackle this one. Right. Yeah. You're saying, now how fat and set?
It's called cohabitation, although it does not have a legal protection. Although there are no proprietary consequences from that, but I'm allowed to cohabit with my partner, stay with them in my house, and then enjoy life.
Is it true what I heard? Or maybe it's I don't know why everything that's just around here. Yeah. Is it true what I heard that if you stay with a person for 6 months in one place, is it 6 months or 12 months? I can't remember.
6 months.
6 months. You're married to them.
It's a big lie. And I'll tell you why. It's the biggest lie one could have ever been exposed to. It's because...
But you've heard about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I call it fat and said, and I'm with due respect. There are 3 kinds of marriages in South Africa. Number 1 is what we call the civil marriages. And those are regulated by what we call the Marriages Act of 1961. Number 2, we have customary marriages, which are regulated by Recognition of Customary Marriages Act. It's an act of 1998. Number 3, we have civil unions, which are which regulates what we call your same-sex marriages, like the LGBTI community.
Right.
Other than that,
so
no, there is no such a thing. If you cohabit, there are no proprietary consequences. The law is never going to protect you at all. If you stay with a person for 5 years and not register that partnership as a civil partnership under the Civil Unions Act, then that means nothing.
If you stay with them for 20 years?
Yes, it means nothing.
If you stay with them for 20 years?
It means nothing. It must be registered as a civil partnership.
Okay, if you stay with them for 50 years and you're
nothing.
Just joking.
It means nothing. So it's only those 3. It's your civil marriages, customary marriages, and civil unions. And under civil unions, it can be people of the same sex getting married together, or people of just, like opposite sex deciding we don't want to go through your shebang of marriages and everything. We just want to stay together, and then we register. Then we call that the civil union. Now, it brings me back to the requirements of a valid marriage. Parties must be major. They must be 18 and above. They must consent to this particular marriage to say, I am going to marry Karabo. Number 3, they must personally appear before a marriage officer, either the Department of Home Affairs or at a church where you have your priest and everyone entering into the marriages with you. Then they must go through that solemnization process and then sign the documents. So with regard to these fraudulent marriages, they go through those steps, but the only difference is that the intention is not to stay together in a legally recognized union. Yes. It's just to facilitate, and then from there go away.
You know what I like about you coming here is that always there's always an element, yeah, customs and tradition. And you did it again. And you did it again. You did it last week. Last week, you left us hanging with the issue of maintenance.
Because I want to come back.
Because you want to come back, right? Okay. But it's very interesting what you're saying now, because I'm going to request again a follow-up to this. I'll tell you why. Because already now, then I heard something so shobedisa. Where you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where people are, I don't want to say forced to get married, because I'm using the wrong word if I say that, but where people are, I don't want to say dictated, where people are instructed or told, or where people are, I don't want to say taken by force. Well, when it becomes technical, because even the African words, I'm lacking them, or this thing, but a lot of people by interpret or people are being forced into marriage. Let's take it like that. And looking at the time, we're not even going to get into it. And I'm going to request that maybe you do a follow-up of this, so we can talk about issues, shobidis and all of that stuff. So there we go, 7 minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock. This is, I need to mention a radio station name, because I feel like I'm presenting. This is GCIS Radio. This is Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, together with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Thank you so much to our guest in the studio this evening. That's Miss Josephine Peta, Senior Legal Administration Officer at the Office of the Family Advocate. Thank you so much for your time. You're coming back for those two, that we're going to do in the future.
Have to.
There we go. Thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Zoto Nkosi, Obakeng, Nozipho Zatu, Bonga Mswedi, Jasmine, David, Bonga, Olisi, the Tap Patko, Mark. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. I really appreciate it. And also big ups to the technical guys for this evening. That's Mosoto Stone, Mosoto on sound, as well as Lindama Zibu on telephones. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Our producer for this evening, his name is Mr. Victor Palath. I really thank you. And of course, as somebody that's making it possible for you to see what is going on in the studio on YouTube, you can go check out this program on YouTube. We're going to load it in the next coming 24 hours. Appreciate it. From myself, Karabalans, Strolana, Sabapidil Matebele, let me thank you so much for being part of this program this evening. Let's meet again next week. Same place, same time. Ciao for now.